Alright, here's the next project. This is going to be the B2 carrier, which will hold my large storage box and the bike rack on top. But this is how it comes, pretty well packed. These here are the bike rack tubes that come out, and then we'll mount the B2 bike plate, I guess you would call it, on top of here. You'll see. So let me pull all this out of here, and we'll get it over there on the over there by the door. This is going to go on the passenger side. Okay. All right. So the first thing I did is I took off the lock nut, that locking mechanism that locks your ladder to the door. It was just two I think it were T10 bolts. So I just took those, came right off. So what I'll do next is I'll get some silicone caulking, and I'll just putty these here, or I'll go to the hardware store, get a short bolt and with a rubber washer, and I'll just put 2 bolts in here with the rubber washer. I think that's probably what I'm going to do, and that will seal this, and it will keep it will clean it up a little bit. So there'll be 2 stainless steel screws here, and then eventually down the road, if I get any touch-up paint, I'll just hit the heads on those. But they're going to be behind the box. We're going to have that big storage box right here, so you're never going to see it. But anyway, this pops right off, so this is what you're going to end up with after you take that off. Okay, so let me set up the camera here, and we will attempt to install this rack. All right, guys. He's got a pretty good video on how to install this, but these here little plates, where are we? These here little plates that we have to put in by the hinge, they really don't want to stay in place while you're working on the other side. So what I did is I got some black tape, and I just taped it in place, so that holds these here little black spaces in here on the inside of the hinge, and I'll do the same thing at the bottom. It was a real pain in the neck trying to get these things to stay put. So I'll show you here in 1 second. This and crimp one end so I can peel it back off later. But we're just going to put that right on here and just hold it in place. Alright, so again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tape on the backs of these bolts to hold these bolts on the outside, because they have a tendency to fall out. So this will hold them in place, and then I just crunch over one end so I can pull this tape off afterwards. And I'll put that on here. Put that one up there in place. Okay, so let's move you back over here. Okay. Can we still open it? Oh yeah, we got room, just enough room to open the door. Wow. Okay. Now we need to tighten those down and center them. I can take the tape off the back. Let me tighten those down, and then we got a mark to drill a hole right here to put a bolt through the door. Yeah, I gotta tell you people, this is pathetic. Freaking Winnebago. I mean, I don't know why they cut corners. They think people are not gonna know or find out about it. Look at this. No insulation at all. Nothing. A measly one little strip of 5/8 foam, and it's, look at this, it's just, so I'm not going to put this back. I'm going to order some insulation. I'm going to insulate this whole door as far as I can, and before I put the panel back. And then when I go to do this side, because this side hasn't come yet, the tire carrier and ladder. So when I take this off, I'll insulate all that too before I put it back. But this is pathetic. I can't believe it. Well, I can believe it. Corporations, they just try to cut corners every little chance they can. So, and I noticed in there too, I had to go inside my cabinet there earlier this week. I put some risers on my bottom drawer so I can put more stuff in there, because the risers are only 4 inches, but you have that whole drawer is 12 inches high. So you couldn't put anything in the drawer because it would all fall out the side. Again, cutting corners. So while I was in there with the door open, you can actually see outside. So, I mean, I know with the door closed, it's all sealed, but I'm going to insulate that whole area there too, because if it's winter time and you're going in and out and that door is open, all that cold air is going to come in right where all you have your sink and all your water lines and everything. That's not good. So I'm going to insulate all that while I'm at it. And I'm going to be putting in a larger water tank. So while that's out, I'm going to insulate all behind that. Because after seeing this, I know there's no insulation over there. They call this 4 season, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe 3 season, but not dead of winter. No way. I'm pretty pissed off for what they ask for these things, and this is the crap that they give you. I'm not happy. But I'll straighten it out. I'll straighten it out here. So this is, I'm sure if you have a Revel, this is the same thing. You might as well, if you're going to be going in the winter, pull off these panels and re-insulate. Okay, let me go back to my project here. Let me show you what I got done so far. So I got it all mounted. I'm just waiting for the paint here to dry. I just painted that little hole there. I drilled it and painted the hole. I had to go to the hardware store and get a longer bolt here because there's a well seam right here. And if it wasn't for that well seam, because there's an inside panel, so there's actually an air gap in here, and it comes down and it meets right about here, and that's right where the bolt goes through. The bolt that they gave you, Owl Van, it's flush with the inside, so I had to go to the hardware store, get a bolt, same thread and everything, but I got it 1/2 inch longer. So now I can put a washer and the lock nut on the back side of it. So that worked out good. So that's so I came back and I just noticed that wasn't painted, so I just painted that and we'll be all set. I'll tighten up on these, tighten up on that, and the frame is installed, and then I'll do the 2 bike rack, the 2 rods that come off actually the rods are going to come off of here, and I will install the bike rack rods, and then we'll put the box on there. I'll probably do that tomorrow. It's running late now. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so I don't think I want to get involved in that right now. Okay, I just had to show you that insulation. That really pisses me off. All right, later. Okay, still waiting for the tire carrier and ladder. It hasn't come in yet, but we got the B2 bike rack installed, and we have the large storage box, which we are about to put on now. All right, so let me show you what they gave us here. Oh, I don't know where it went. Where did I put it? Oh, here we are. So they give you this a little aluminum. It's pretty cool. This is our Vans, but this is a template. And when you put it up here, it's exactly the whole line up here on these side rails. And if you go this way too, it gives you the same whole lineup, so you can adjust this thing any way you want. So I would assume that the edge, these here edges, would be for your top and bottom, and these holes in the middle would be if you had like the Sherpa plate that you put on here. But they only give you four nuts and bolts. So obviously we'll have 2 on one side, 2 on the other side. What I'm going to do is drill a hole on the box so that the 2 upper will be at the highest point on the box, so I can adjust this, and the other screw will be down here about 4 or 5 holes up. I haven't determined yet, because I want to put my grill. I have a gas fire grill, or not grill, but fire pit, and I want to mount that on top of the box, but underneath the bike rack, and it's 8 inches. So what I'm going to do, and I want that to fit in nice and snug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bike racks. I'm going to screw on one or bolt on one. They call it one-up bike rack, and because there are some bolts that come down, so I want to make sure I have the right height for that. And then I will measure down and make sure that my owl box will fit underneath, so I have room to slide that grill in underneath here. That's my plan anyway. We'll see if it happens that way. Okay. So this is my gas fired fire pit. So I want that to be mounted right on top of the box, which is right, it's going to be right like this. And I need 8 inches. So if we measure down from the bottom of the bike rack and we go 8 inches, that's going to put us right about halfway on these 2 bolts. So if the bolts are basically 2 inches apart. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower, right now it says if I were to drill this hole right here, it'd be 2.5 inches to the top, but I want to have a little more, so I'm going to drop the top down so it's even with this hole, and that's going to give me my hole at 2 inches down from the top. And by doing that, it's going to give me 9 inches between the top of the box and the bottom of this bike rack. That'll give me 1 inch to play with, and I'm going to put a little rubber mat on the top of the box, which is 1/4 of an inch. so it will keep it from vibrating and moving around. And then I'll have it strapped too, and probably put a cable around it. So on the box itself, right over here, what I did is I put some tape down here, and this is the hole, this is the pattern here for the hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to center this here template, and we're going to put the center of the first hole at 2 inches, which would be right about there. So that's where the holes are going to go for this. The 2 top holes will go right here. So let me drill those first, then we'll hang it and see how it fits on there before I go drilling the bottom ones. Okay? Okay. Let's see what we have here. This is not going to be easy. There's got to be another way to do this. Okay. Alright, I got an idea. Let's go get a strap. Wow, okay. Here we go. Hey, looks good. I get the same margin. All right, that looks good right here. All right. That was a job. It wasn't physical. It was just tedious trying to get your fingers in the back there to try to tighten those locking nuts on the bolts. But yeah, all right, one done, one side done. All right, we'll wait for the other side to show up. Should be next week, I think. Keep my fingers crossed. All right.